A hot camp shower is how I convinced my wife to come camping with me, and if I'm honest, I kind of like having them too. Now, why am I talking about camp showers? Well, Joolca have just released a brand new shower, and it's a bit of a game changer. This is the Hottie. It is a recirculating water heater and shower that heats your water up to an exact temperature. Now, before I get into all of the pros and the cons and the technical specs, let's take it out, set it up, and use it. What you see here is absolutely everything that you need to take your shower. It's all self-contained within the unit in the top here. So there's no extra bags of hoses or power or even stands that you need to set up. It's all here ready to go, including the fuel in the top here. So I've got my little propane tank there, and all I need to do to hook it up is attach basically three things. So I can start off with the propane itself, and this has two options for fueling it. So you can either do the 1 pound tanks, or if you get the other adapter, you can do this with the 5 or 10 or 20 pound tanks. And both of them have, similar connection here, where it is just a quick connect to the bottom of the unit there. Next, I'm going to hook up the power, and there are two options for this. You can use the 12 volt adapter that it comes with, so this will work with anything that uses a cigarette lighter, and you got a nice long cable on there, so this can actually be plugged into the vehicle itself, or I could plug this into something like a Jackery or Anchor power pack. But you can also use the battery that you can purchase separately from Joolca, which is a little more compact here. So I can plug this in and attach it to the bottom down here. And the nice thing about this is it's magnetic, so it can just stick to the side there, and it's just convenient, and it also fits inside the unit there. So it's just very convenient for that. And this can also be used for charging your other devices. So it's got a USB-C output, 65 watt output, or a USB-A output. So you can use that to charge things like laptops, phones in the tent. So it's not just a single use item. I also have the shower head and hose in here. So this is gonna be the last thing that I hook up. And all of this stuff just snaps together. It's got quick connects on both ends of the control unit for the shower head, and then both ends of the hose as well. So I can snap those in. I've just got a little guard that I've got to remove there, and it will snap into the bottom of the shower. And that's it, it's ready to shower. Although I do need to add the water, which goes in the top here. We've got a 3.5 gallon tank here that I was using to store all of the accessories. And I can add either fresh water, or because this comes with a 2-stage filtration system, I can pull water from something like a creek, something that's relatively clean, but it will be filtered before it goes through the pump and the heater and used to shower. Or actually, a third option is, because this lid is sealed around the top here, I can actually fill this up before I leave and use this to store my water. Of course, that does mean I need to find somewhere else to store all of this stuff, because you can't put it in the water there. All right, that is mostly filled up. I'm missing a little bit at the top there just because this is on a slight hill, but I can shut this now and seal it up. And to turn it on, I got a little switch on the side, and to start heating, I push this red button. But I want to figure out what to heat this to. Hey Siri, what's the best shower temperature? Let's see what we need. Best shower temperature is between 98 degrees Fahrenheit and 104 Fahrenheit. So let's set this to 100 degrees. So I'm going to press, actually I'm going to change the temperature on here using this button. So I've set it to 100 degrees, and then I press the red button. And what it's going to do now is light the heater unit in here. And once that's lit, the water will start circulating using the pump. And that's it. Now it's heating, and the great thing is I can walk away and I can leave it to heat because it all is automatic. It lights by itself, it pumps by itself, and it shuts off by itself. It'll shut off either when it reaches the temperature, or if this thing gets knocked over for some reason, it'll shut off as well. So completely safe to walk away, and I'll time it back in a few minutes.
The exact amount of time to heat the water is obviously going to vary depending on the starting temperature of your water. I started with water that's 66 degrees, but let's say that it's the middle of summer and your truck's been sitting out in the sun and your water is starting at 80 degrees. It's going to warm up much faster than starting at 66. On the other hand, let's say you put a bit of water in the bottom, then shove a bunch of snow in the top, because you can actually use this to melt snow. But if you do that, it's going to take a lot longer because your water is starting much colder.
With this one, it just beeped because it's done and ended up taking just under 4.5 minutes to go from 66 to 100 degrees. And now we're ready to take a shower. To turn the pump on, all I do is push this blue button on the side here, and now it's on. The pump's actually primed this system, but because the shower head is off, the pump has shut off automatically. If I turn the shower head on, the pump starts up again automatically. Turn it off, the pump will stop automatically. That way you can start and stop this shower as you need. So what I want to do now is see how long this shower will last. I'm actually going to start with the lowest water flow. So I'm going to turn it on and set it to an amount that I feel like I could realistically take a shower with. So let's go with, I think right there, a little more. There we go. So we'll set it to that water flow. One of the nice things about this is you can adjust the water flow using the dial on the side here. With traditional instant water heaters, you have to have a certain amount of water flowing through the system before it will start heating, so it wouldn't actually work like this. But with this one, because it's already preheated, I can set this water flow to whatever amount I like. So yeah, I think I could realistically shower with this kind of water flow. What I'm going to do is we'll just let it go. I'm just going to stand here awkwardly, and we'll see how long this water will flow for.
Because this shower uses a recirculating system, the temperature is also exactly where you want it as soon as you start the water flowing. If you've used the other instant water heaters for your showers, you'll know that it takes several seconds for the water to get hot. When I'm taking a camp shower, I'm trying to save as much water as possible since I can only take a limited amount of water with me. If I'm washing my hair, for example, I'll quickly wet it, shut the shower off, and do the shampoo, and then when I'm rinsing the hair off afterwards, it's just short bursts of water again. That means I either don't get hot water or I'm wasting a few seconds worth of water every single time just to get it warm. That problem is obviously solved with this.
And that's it. And just like when you shut the shower head off, when you're done showering, when you run out of water here, the pump will turn off automatically as well. You may have noticed that the shower head is adjustable, so I can change the angle of it like that, which I don't know if you've got some hard to reach places, you can change the angle and get to those hard to reach places. But it's also nice for when you mount it using a magnet on the back here. So if you're showering next to your vehicle, you can actually magnet it to the side of your vehicle, and you can change the angle of the head to suit the angle that it's attached to the side of the vehicle. And the hose that goes to the shower head is 10 feet long, or just under 10 feet long, which means that you can set the hottie on the ground or on a table and run the hose through into a shower tent, something like that, if you want some privacy, and you got plenty to reach wherever it needs reaching. All right, so let's try this again. This time I've turned this up to max power, so you can see how much of a flow you get from the shower head here on max power, and we can see how long this lasts. And one of the things you'll notice, well, you might not notice, is how quiet this pump is. Might have to get a little closer. The problem is this microphone is really good at noise isolation, so you probably won't hear it. It's pretty quiet, unlike the pumps you get with some of the other showers, which are really, really loud. But now, I'm just gonna stand here again, and we'll see how long this lasts.
Being able to set the exact temperature is a big deal. Every single shower unit I've used in the past can be adjusted, but you're only adjusting how much the water is heated up by, not what it's heated to. What I mean by that is you might be able to turn the shower up to max heat, and it'll heat the water up by, let's say, 60 degrees, for example. That's great if your water is starting at 40 degrees, since it'll be the perfect shower. But if your water is freshly melted snow and is starting just above 30 degrees, then your shower is going to be pretty cold. And if the water has been sitting in the back of the truck at 80 degrees, suddenly you're heating it up to 140 degrees, and you're going to be scalding yourself. I've also noticed that with other shower units, if you change the flow of the water, you're also changing the temperature, because a high water flow is not going to absorb as much heat, whereas if you've got the water on slow, it's going to get really hot. With this one, there's no playing around with those adjustments based on the original water temperature or water flow, all that time wasting the water as you get it right. You get the perfect shower every time.
There. And once again, the pump will shut off automatically when you run out of water. When you finish your shower, packing away again is a very simple process, basically the opposite of what you've just done, and everything can go back in the top here. I'm just going to use these quick disconnects to disconnect everything and quickly drain the last of the water out of this hose, and dump it all back in the lid here where it is easily stored for next time I need everything. And because it's all, you know, like even the propane's a quick disconnect, super simple, super easy. And the only thing you might want to consider that's different is not sealing the lid up, since there is still moisture in the top there. So when I'm done, rather than shut this and seal it up and let all that moisture just sit in there getting gross, just leave it open, and that way it can dry out. And that's it, I'm ready to go. So what you saw there is you can leave this running for up to 6 to 7 minutes, depending on the flow of the water. Joolca claimed you can get 1 really good shower out of this, or 2 okay showers. I actually think if I'm doing one of my camp showers, I could squeeze 3 showers out of this, because I'm not going to leave the water running all the time. I'm going to shut it off when I don't need it and turn it on just to rinse off the suds. Basically doing the bare minimum for most of my camp showers. If that's not enough for you, or you want the next person after you to have a really good shower too, then you can refill the whole thing and just start it warming again, and they'll only have to wait like 3 to 5 minutes. Runtime on a 1 pound propane tank like this is about an hour and a half, but of course you're not going to be running the propane through this for an hour and a half constantly. You're just going to heat the water up, then the propane shuts off. So even if you heat the water up to you know, 100 degrees, and then you wait an hour and a half before you're taking your shower, you're not going to have used all the propane in this, because it's only going to turn on the propane just enough to keep that water temperature up. Realistically, you're probably looking around 20 to 25 showers worth out of this propane bottle, based on how long it took to heat my water up. Of course, that depends on the temperature of the water you're heating. If you're starting with water that's, you know, like 40 degrees, then it's going to take a little bit longer to warm up, use a little bit more propane. And if you're starting with water that's at 70 degrees, then it's going to take a little bit less. Since space is a premium in our vehicles, something you do want to consider is the size of this. So total height, looking at the specs on here, is 19.5 inches. The width of it is 13.8, and then the depth of it from front to back is 7.1 inches. And since this is all self-contained and rectangular, it does pack away nicely in your vehicle. And of course, everything that you need to take with you is packed in here as well, so you don't have loose bits that are floating around. So it does pack away nicely in the back. That does make this slightly larger than the other shower units that I have tested or used in the past, but it's the only one that has everything self-contained with its own storage. It is of course the only one that's recirculating, which is a really nice feature. And it's the only one that is like truly a rectangular shape, which I really like, because it makes packing things away really easy in your vehicle. You can lay this down, you can stack stuff on top of it, you know, it just packs away really nicely. It's also worth pointing out this has a carry handle on the top, which makes this very quick, convenient to just pick up and move around. And let's say that you've got it in your truck bed and you want to strap it to the side of your truck bed, and the lid is getting in the way. Let's say you want to be able to get to the controls and it only straps onto one side of your truck bed. You can actually take this lid off and hinge it on the other side, so it opens up the other way around. This is the HOTTAP, and the reason I like this for the back of my truck is because this can be hard mounted, so I never have to pack anything away. It just sits there permanently. But you can see that the size between the two is very similar. This is just gonna be a lot easier to pack, because this is a standalone unit and you got legs that go with it. If you're not hard mounting it, you got hoses, you got a pump, you know, everything else is separate. And of course, you can't recirculate in this one. So right now I'm heating this up again because I have one more test that I want to do. On all of my other shower review videos, I've had multiple people asking whether or not you can use it inside. And there have been different reasons for that. Some people have been remodeling, so they don't have a bathroom or a shower that's available for them. They've been going down to the gym or to a local campground to take their showers. Other people want to use it inside their tent or inside a camper, that kind of thing. And the answer for all of the other models is no, because you have a fuel that's burning, you've got a flame in there, and you have potential for carbon monoxide buildup, so you don't want to be using them inside. Now obviously this has a flame and the potential for carbon monoxide buildup, but I'm wondering if we can heat it up and then take it inside. So this has just reached 100 degrees, and what I'm going to do now is disconnect the propane, and imagine that we're going to, you know, pick this up, take it into our house, and I'll see if it will run without the propane connected. So let's turn on the pump, and there you go. I've got hot water coming out here. really nice hot water. So the answer for this one, can you use this inside, is a kind of yes. Yes, you absolutely can. You can preheat it outside and then take it inside. The only thing you're gonna have is this won't maintain the water temperature once you've disconnected the propane. Whereas if you're outside, you can leave that propane connected, and if this were to cool down, it would automatically start to heat it up again. Of course, if you're taking this inside in a heated space, you're probably not gonna lose much of your water temperature by the time you're done with your shower. So that's okay. If the Hottie is something that you're interested in, I will put the QR code back on the screen here so you can scan that with your phone, and I'll have a link to it in the description. And both of those are referral codes, so I get a little bit of commission when you use those. Or if you decide that you don't like me, or you don't want to have to get your phone out to scan or click the link or whatever, you can go to joolca.com and you will find it on there. Thanks for watching.